Unhinged Rant about YouTube getting worse by the GamersNexus Consumer Advocacy channel. So I have my thoughts and opinions on this. I think I know what we're going to be discussing, but I genuinely want to hear their input on this.
There are some global constants on the internet, and one of them is Google is making itself worse all the time, and that includes YouTube. So I have a lot to say about this. I should probably do like a full separate deep dive video on some of the bullshit that we deal with as creators, where just as an example, and I was saving this for another video, it wasn't intended to go in here, but mid-roll ads. So there's ads that pop up from AdSense in the middle of the video. There was a period where they just went and turned it on for like a month of our videos that I had explicitly disabled it for, or I had set like a max of 1 to 2 for say a 45-minute or a 30-minute video. We'll typically do 1 or 2 mid-rolls that we manually place. They went in, they turned on, there were like 12 for like a 30-minute video at some point. Anyway, that's a separate complaint for another time.
I do know that from so I don't turn notifications on, right? When I subscribe to a channel, I don't turn notifications on because I will watch content if I find it interesting. I don't need my phone pinged more than, say, my own notifications give me. YouTube goes through, they will unlike videos, they'll unsubscribe me. Many people have experienced getting just manually, just automatically unsubscribed seemingly from channels, right? I also have seen notifications get turned on. The other day, I got a Markiplier notification. It's not him sending it. For some reason, it's YouTube turning that notification on, and it throws me off. I don't know why they do it.
They're making things worse, and this entire episode is focused only on the last few months of YouTube making things worse. And so Ben and I went through, and we put together our list of grievances for YouTube. That's what this is. It's like, we need like a holiday for this. We need we need like a special day of grievances for YouTube specifically, like YouTubivis or something. I don't know. It sounds like a disease. Anyway, you get the point. Let's get into it. This GNCA video is brought to you by us and our honeypot t-shirts for charity. The honeypot t-shirt features a custom foil design with a smashed, shiny honeypot on the front, with the back featuring a GN logo with a bee flying away. Each shirt also comes with a trading card, ready to be played with its mechanics that grant treasure tokens to an opponent and then immediately take them back, including my own flavor text that I've written at the bottom. We're donating the profit from this shirt order to archive.org for its preservation of media and websites, the Cramden Institute for its e-waste recycling and its PC refurbishing and distribution programs, and the Public Interest Research Group for its support of consumer rights and warranty rights. Head over to store.gamersnexus.net to grab one today. Actually, just thinking of it,
I would give it an 8. I thought it was a good ad read. I thought it was great. I know in some ad reads I've talked about how, a little more lively, a little more cuts and stuff like that. I think for what this video is, right, it's a quote-unquote unchanged rant. Like, we're having a dialogue, a discussion here, right? I think this was fine. Mic audio, it's probably because it looks like that's wood in the background. This is probably not a fully audio-treated space. You can hear some sort of like the, right, like the breathing, right? You're pretty sure you could pick that up from my mic. Like, you hear the breaths in between some of the sentences. Audio was a little inconsistent with the rest of the video. It was probably done on a different take and then spliced in. So other than, some minor audio issues, which are a non-issue to most people, I would give this an 8. I thought it was a really good ad read. I thought it was really good that, they got to show some of their own merch. That they pushed this section. I liked it. I thought it was good. The footage made sense. The lighting, the camera work, especially when it went to the trading card and the shirt, was very good.
I think we need a disclaimer in this video for YouTube and as a CYA for myself against YouTube, to be extremely clear. We're talking about things that relate to ads and ad blockers in this video.
Right.
We are not advocating one way. Nice. Anyway, we're not advocating one way or the other for installing them or not installing them. That's a whole separate subject. We're going to talk about them. But YouTube, if you're watching this, you're like, got my finger over the ban button. Is he gonna violate the terms? The answer is no. We are not.
And people have asked me this. They're like, Kip, why do you say this, right? Why, well, and then you'll have people who say that they allegedly install ad blockers. It's like I always say, look, at the end of the day, I can't, from a legal standpoint, I can't tell you to do this, right? It does go against YouTube's terms of service and guidelines. Now, what I can say, I'm not your mother, I'm not your father, right? I can't control what you do. you need to do your own research and make the decision that best fits what your conclusion is. I'm not advocating for you to install it. I from a legal perspective, have to say that you shouldn't have an ad blocker enabled, but come to your own educated conclusion and find the solution that works for you best is what I would have to say. I'm not advocating for installing them. All I'm saying is you should not do the thing and do your research on the subject.
Not suggesting that users do one or the other. We're just going to talk about it. Okay, back to the content. All right, so first of all, just the topics today. They're fighting ad blockers in ways that I just think it's an awful idea. I mean, this is like the way to get people to deal with things like ads or paying for a product or whatever is to make it reasonably accessible without being assholes about it and making it impossible to consume.
Yeah.
Like once you start running into multiple unskippable ads where you're waiting 90 seconds to even start watching the video, which isn't something like we control. There's some level of control you have, but they can do it regardless of if monetization's turned on or not. So this is where ad blockers evolve. And then it gets into this arms race of, well, do we block the blockers, and then they unblock the blockers, and then the blocking blocks the blocking blockers, and so forth.
So he does bring up a good point. Even if a channel is not monetized, there was a period of time where I had an account situation happen where I was trying to swap accounts, but I hit the wrong buttons. I did the wrong account swap thing, if that makes sense, which is dumb that it's super simple to do that. And I was out monetization for an entire month, or even prior to any of my channels being monetized. They will still run ads. You don't get the ad revenue, but the ads will still be placed on the video. So you, as aspiring John YouTuber, right, who just started a channel, can and will have ads just shown on your videos. That's how the system works. And I think there's a myth of just like, well, maybe this creator sold out when they monetize, and they're putting way too many of these things, as they clearly as he clearly says, like he had no mid rolls on certain videos, and they just added them in retroactively. You can control things to a degree, and let's say you have like three sections in the video that you're going to split up and put ads in, right? But YouTube changing policy, suddenly there's 9 slots, right? There's only so much you can reasonably do, especially if you have a larger video backlog. 100 or so videos, okay. You start getting into hundreds, if not thousands of videos that some channels have. I'm up to 1.5K reactions right now, right? How hard is that to go through every single video and deal with certain settings like that?
Kind of stupid, but YouTube Premium is getting worse. YouTube ad AI slop with Gemini now, and plenty more. We'll talk about that today. But let's start with them cracking down on ad blockers. So YouTube is cracking down on viewers who attempt to circumvent the advertisements that are on the platform. Ironically, YouTube has been building in features that make it easier for viewers to skip the creator baked in ads, which YouTube doesn't get money for, at least not the way we do it, and most creators do it.
There's a commentary there.
So they've been building those features. Someone asked me in the comments recently how I felt about YouTube making it so that people can like skip the ads that we burn into the videos more easily. I don't fucking care. I mean, you can skip it if you want. It's whatever. Like, I get it. But anyway, over the last month, multiple reports claim that YouTube is slowing down or blocking videos for viewers with active ad blockers. And we've actually run into YouTube's back-end YouTube Studio solution blocking our own browsers, because they're not Chrome, from playing back the videos where you can do things like add title cards and whatever. So the problem is it'll just spin, or it'll be a black screen and won't play at all until the user plays by YouTube's rules, maybe runs Chrome, doesn't use an ad blocker, things like that.
Look, I pay for YouTube Premium, right? I have the funny badge, as we can see in the top left, right? I have the funny. I use Firefox, though. I use Firefox as my browser of choice personally. I'm sure there's people who use Brave browser. I don't want to use Chromium. I don't want to use it. To me, this is an overreach.
And this is coming from the same company that can't find the time to fix its own rampant bot problem. We'll just pop some of them over there. I think I'm probably going to have to like blur or censor one of them, because I think, ironically, if I show the bot profile pictures that YouTube allows on its website, I will probably have some kind of penalty for it. So we're going to blur the worst of them. But they can't find time to deal with that. Where like 80% of the comments are the same 3 friggin' emojis, or at least variations of them, to the extent that you can like ban individual emojis so that the comments just don't even appear, but then they change which emojis they are. It's predictable is the point. And they don't have the time to fix that, but they have the time to go after browsers that aren't Chrome and extensions. Anyway,
I think it's going after the bigger fish. Some of me has to wonder how much of this is investor focused as well, right? At the end of the day, it's going to be what companies have to ask: what is best for their investors? What is best for Alphabet, Google, YouTube's, etc. investors, right? They're going to want to cut down on, well, why are people able to use Firefox? Why are people able to use Brave browser? Why are people able to use non-Chromium browsers? So they're having to pick and choose, right? Kind of not dissimilar to like how a thing, letter of the law versus spirit of the law, right? How a thing can be an infraction or illegal, but it's like, okay, like, sure, riding a giraffe in downtown is, yeah, technically illegal. Probably shouldn't do that from a common sense perspective. I don't know. I actually don't like where I'm going with that one. It's just about prioritization, right? It's about what has the most publicity. It's about what is going to be seen by investors and shareholders. I think that there's an entire commentary here in regards to why certain things get hit.
PC World said users on Reddit and the Brave browser forum, and we checked this to confirm, have reported videos being blacked out on first load. That's a quote. Continuing the quote, approximately for the length of the pre-roll ads with a pop-up link that directs users to the ad blocking section, end quote, of a Google support page. And again, we've occasionally seen that in the back end of YouTube Studio with just Firefox. The support page instructs users to check whether they have ad blocking browser extensions that could affect video playback. And multiple posts on Reddit show that YouTube is restricting videos when an ad blocker is in use. If YouTube wants to do that, that's totally fine. They can do that. But they have to understand this is how these platforms death spiral. Right now, YouTube has no effective competition. But I saw this with the web publishing space as in articles. Like our site now, the GN site, has no ads. There's zero third-party ads at all on the GamersNexus.net site. And that's because I went through the first real adpocalypse on the article-based internet, which was when all these publishers started racing to add more and more ads to try and compensate for users who were seeing fewer of them. And so they had fewer ad-viewing users that they would shovel more ads to try and compensate. And the end result of that was those users get fed up with it and increasingly use either ad blockers, abandon certain sites altogether, stick to aggregators like Reddit or whatever. That's the end result. And that's a potential.
I'd rather go to Reddit than go to some article site like this, right? 100%. Because the UI looks awful. I'm being shoved more and more ads. It's not user-friendly. I scroll to get the two paragraphs here: recent interview, PlayStation blog, scam, Capcom, Resident Evil Requiem, scam, best way to showcase a game is remnants of all the people who perished during the incident and take gamers back to its origin with none of the Raccoon City. And then it depends if the article interests me or not. Like, I skim through this because there's so many ads on the screen. It's not user friendly. It's not respecting the person going and reading the article. It's not.
Side effect here too. YouTube, we think they are going to harm traffic to the site with this, and this will reduce ad views anyway. And then they'll try to compensate for those losses by shoveling more ads into it. And this is exactly what I saw in 2008 to 2012. It's the same damn thing. It's an arms race rather than focusing on, gee, why do people block the ads to begin with? And there's a few obvious options. I mean, there's too many of them is one option.
Right.
This is why, in our videos, we do one baked-in ad, and we don't have, an end roll that we bake in or anything like that. But anyway, there's too many AdSense ads. Specifically, the ads are AI bullshit. I mean,
if you are advertising AI generation to me, that is an immediate turnoff. I will not engage with your product, right? Look, what I do is fairly easy content, all things considered. We've talked about this. I sit here, I talk about things right on the screen. Look, at least I'm not artificially generating stuff, right? Using the funny, the funny AI voices, right? I feel that as simplistic as what I do, I'm still leagues better than companies, entities, individuals, groups, etc. that engage in that. I don't want to see that, which also leads into another issue of YouTube doesn't. This is a YouTube-specific issue. You can try to curate your feed. I keep getting a Vtuber debut in my feed, and I don't want to see that. I'm not interested. Every single day since their debut, I have had multiple videos served to me that I've had to say not interested over and over and over and over and over again. That is a failure of the algorithm.
I just the other day logged out of YouTube Premium to check what the ads look like. And one of the things that I got was like an AI generated person like talking with an obvious AI voice, but a really shitty one, peddling some kind of health. I don't. It was like clearly bullshit, whatever it was. And that's another reason to block ads. Third reason, I don't know if this video is going to trigger all kinds of. We'll see what YouTube does to this video. I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But anyway, that's kind of the situation we end up in.
Right.
Reddit user Casil of Saturn said YouTube would block the video player after playing one video. The warning message encouraged them to try YouTube Premium. One user claimed that YouTube slowed down video speeds and gave them a prompt that said, quote, experiencing interruptions, question mark, end quote. Another Redditor claimed YouTube simply said a video is, quote, unavailable when using ad blockers. Not everyone on the Reddit threads had the same experience, though. Some people suggested workarounds. PC World said developers are adapting software to stay ahead of YouTube. Quote, ad block extension developers quickly got around the pop-up issue earlier this week, with one AdGuard representative calling the process, quote, a classic cat and mouse game, end quote. In a statement to Mashable, a YouTube representative shared some details and said this, quote, the use of ad blockers violate YouTube's terms of service, and we've been urging users for some time to allow ads on YouTube or try YouTube Premium for an ad-free experience. As we've said before, viewers using ad blockers may have a suboptimal viewing experience, which includes delays in loading, end quote. The suboptimal viewing experience language is intentionally vague here, could mean a number of things. And again, it is totally YouTube's prerogative to block ad blockers if they want. It
is. You have to remember this is a private platform at the end of the day. And you want to talk about, being able to say whatever, do whatever, upload whatever content, make, a threat of a spicy cylindrical object being mailed to somebody, right? YouTube is a private platform. You do have to adhere to their TOS, and they do retain the right to remove you from their service, right? Sure, it's one of those things where, like, we see this with people who've been banned from the platform, like hard banned for being just Cupcake Man. Let's put it that way. I can't name him. I don't encourage anyone to name him, but Cupcake Man, right? He just wanted a cupcake. His tummy was a little rumbly. Banned from the platform. If you're banned from the platform, you can't come back to the platform. But Cupcake Man still can make more and more accounts. It's so strange. It almost feels like, and this is an offshoot comment, offshoot analysis that I'm not going to get into, at least right now. It almost feels like the people who are ethical, who are moral, or at least try to be, are actively being punished, while people who don't care have been banned in the past or have had restrictions on them in the past, such as a certain Logan Paul individual with a certain rodent CPR whatever situation that got his his channel limited monetization for like a solid month or whatever. Yeah, it blows my mind. There are so many creators who are. This is a fairly reasonable discussion that GamersNexus is having right now, is it not? He has a script. I like the UI, right? Like, he's coming across as professional. I mean, sure, you might say there's bias in there. I'm biased, right? There's bias everywhere, and people try to report on things, and as a lot of people try to report it as non-biased capacity as possible. I think this is great content. I think this is ethical. I think this is moral. I think this is bringing up a very serious issue. But this won't get rewarded when really awful content, whether heinous animal content, right, stuff that shouldn't be on the platform, yet YouTube says it doesn't accept, lazy React content, right, we're talking, adding like 5 seconds to the actual runtime, right, and AI generated slop are actively rewarded. There's a disconnect here.
I mean, the thing I care about is just like, I don't know. I mean, you got to look at the root cause of this. That's where they need to start. And one of those could be, like I said, when you get the ads that are just like scams.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of hard to be confused by users not wanting to see that. So
this is a big one, right? Sure. Absolutely. I am all on board with, no ad blockers. The ads need to make sure that they're actually legitimate. I better not see a single Mr. Beast, you can win $1 million scam ad. I better not see a single cropped, quote unquote, not safe for work ad being, served to me when I've done reactions to like Cottontail VA that have been just instantly demonetized because of the subject material, right? I better not see anything that is going to be from, someone claiming to be an entity that they're not, right? Well, hi, join Jacksepticeye University. It's no way in any way, shape, or form affiliated with Jacksepticeye. It's literally like grifting off of their image, right? Like, I better see a better advertiser landscape, because if you don't, not that I can say to use ad blockers, from a common sense perspective, this is why people will resort to ad blockers. This is common sense. The more and more you tighten your grip, say you have like a balloon in your hand, the more and more you tighten your grip, eventually you're going to tighten it so much the balloon's going to pop, right? That is exactly what's happening. So, yeah, they would have more of a case to argue no ad blockers if the ads themselves actually followed YouTube's terms of service. And that's a big one. Just to clarify, once again, from a legal perspective, I cannot tell you to install an ad blocker. I'm not going to say that you should install one. I cannot tell you that. Do your own research. Make sure that you're taking everything into account.
So, anyway, I think I should probably emphasize again in this video as a paper trail for myself and for YouTube, we are not in this video advocating for the use or the disuse of ad blockers, because I don't care. The thing that we're talking about is the user experience and it getting worse. It's not about whether users should or shouldn't install certain things. And actually, honestly, extensions you do need to be extremely careful with, because like a browser extension is one of the best possible vectors for an attack. So it is something to think about there too. It's kind of a whole different topic. Anyway.
I pay, as I said, I pay for YouTube Premium, so this is ultimately to me a non-issue. But I also literally work doing this on YouTube, right? Like this is job status, so it's kind of like business expense status for me. But you, John Viewer, Jane Viewer, right? You might come to a different conclusion. It might not be financially viable for you. You might have your reservations. You might not like what the platform's doing. I legally cannot tell you to do the thing, nor will I say to do the thing. I have to say I cannot advocate for installing ad blockers. Regardless of your conclusion, do your research, educate yourself, formulate an opinion, because this YouTube is the media platform for all intents and purposes. Educate yourself, formulate your own conclusion.
Next one is YouTube Premium getting worse. So YouTube is pushing Premium to avoid ads, which is fine.
Sure.
But it's doing so at a time when Premium is adding more ads back into Premium. So that was the entire point of YouTube Premium. It was no ads, and now they have them again. YouTube is moving to roll out its Premium Lite feature fully for $8 per month. Except Premium Lite doesn't let you play videos like music in the background, meaning turning your phone screen off and letting it play. That's like half the point of Premium for me. It doesn't allow you to download videos to mobile for offline play. It adds ads back in.
What do you mean most video ad-free? Ads may appear on music content, shorts, and when you search them. No, nope. Premium Lite would be fine if it was ad-free music, if it was a video like this or any video, right? Say I don't know, random number one video, number one trending on YouTube, right? Every video should be ad-free. I understand the no downloads, and I can actually understand the no background play. I use the background play a lot. I know when I'm doing something else, or I'm having to, say, do some work or something like that on my phone or text on my phone, right? I'll have YouTube, minimized, right? I have been experiencing some issues with some of the changes they rolled out. I used to be able to hit like the back button while playing a video. It would minimize it, and I could see comments and stuff. Now that seems borked half the time. I don't know why they keep doing things like that. But, the value proposition is not here because you're pushing Premium, but you're still having ads in certain content. I disagree with this inherently. Sure, don't allow the background play. Don't allow the downloads. Sure, I think that reasonably for a lot of people for $7.99 a month, I think could be a really good thing. But you're paying for Premium and still having ads. You have your own conflict of interest there.
In some situations, according to new reports, it also doesn't give you access to YouTube Music. It's basically...
Oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't give access to music. I don't know. I don't use it personally. I really don't.
Basically pointless, in my opinion. And we think the real purpose of it is actually to sort of normalize ads in paid services and slowly roll that out. It really looks like YouTube is ramping up its position to be able to start shoving ads back into everything, even the ad-free paid services.
If YouTube throws ads into my premium and is still raising the price on it, no way, no how. That is absolutely a red line.
That's what I think. But YouTube made it worse by emailing this out to some of its users. This was confirmed by a couple users online. Quote, "Thank you for being a Premium Lite member. Premium Lite offers fewer interruptions so you can watch more of the YouTube you love," end quote. And this is on, I believe it was the Twit forum. It continues, quote, "We are writing to let you know that beginning 30th June 2025, ads may appear on Shorts in addition to music content and when you search or browse. Most videos will continue to remain ad-free."
So this is actually interesting because I saw Dexerto, so take it with a grain of salt, right? Dexerto saying that YouTube Shorts has surpassed TikTok in terms of, I think, monthly views or something. I'd have to find the article again. And once again, it's like with a grain of salt, Dexerto has had to apologize for coverage on a couple things, including, say, The Completionist, right? So anything Dexerto said, it's tabloid trash to me personally, but that's because their image has been tarnished by misreporting before for me. This actually is really interesting if you take that into context with the Shorts statement here.
While we hope that you continue to be a member, you can cancel your membership at any time here. To check the status of your account and billing information, go to your settings, purchases, and memberships page. For more information about Premium Lite, please visit our YouTube Help Center. We appreciate and continue to learn from your feedback. Sincerely,
Right.
the YouTube Premium team, end quote. I want to give some context here for viewers. So, if you wonder what do YouTubers make from ads, there's a couple forms, but the one that's relevant here, the one that YouTube controls, is called AdSense. And the answer is fractions of a penny per view. So if you're paying $8 a month and you're still getting ads, at a super high CPM or cost per 1,000 views, you got to watch probably over 1,000 videos realistically. It depends on the category here. And maybe if you're watching Finance Bros, it's fewer. Maybe it's only like 500 or something. But it's going to be somewhere in the range of like 500 to 3,000 videos that would have had ads that you'd have to watch to basically generate that $8 of ad revenue for the creators. That's actually more for YouTube itself. I think this split I could probably disclose. It's public. But okay, I'm not sure what the contractual rules are anymore. So what I did is I Googled this. Google, by the way, owns YouTube, just so everyone's clear here.
Right.
I typed in, what is the YouTube ad revenue split creators? And I got, this is the best part, an AI overview from Gemini, which is also made by Google. And it says, YouTube typically splits ad revenue with creators through a revenue sharing model. This is a quote, "Creators receive 55% of the ad revenue generated by their videos, while YouTube retains the remaining 45%. This split applies to long-form videos and is a standard arrangement for creators within the YouTube Partner Program." So I'm just reading a quote there just in case there's some kind of rules around saying that. But point being, to generate $8 worth of basically to start becoming more cost than you're worth it for something like Premium Lite at $8, you got to be watching thousands of videos a month. So to put any ads in it is just honestly absurd, but that's my opinion on it. Anyway, YouTube also has some ad AI slop now where YouTube may change how it presents some advertisements. Search Engine Land reported that YouTube is experimenting with more non-skippable ads. Quote, "Google Ads is testing 30-second non-skippable ads in regular YouTube campaigns. This format, until now, was reserved for premium placements via YouTube reservation buys."
Do we remember what happened with cable? Right? I know this is going to be wild for some people because some people watching were not around for cable or never owned a VHS, right? Like VCR technically is the box. Anyways, boomer things. But remember what happened? How there was ads and everything and it got annoying, and then we moved over to streaming and Netflix and things like that because it was easier and because there weren't ads. And now we see the similar things happening with so many ads and so many things, right? We don't learn from our mistakes. We just We're just gonna repeat these. We're just gonna just no, I'm the crazy one here. Okay.
End quote. Google also recently announced what they call peak points, which is a so-called AI feature built with Gemini that allows advertisers to target ads when viewers are most engaged in a video.
That is a fast way to kill a video. If you're trying to cliffhanger and blue ball people into a moment, people will click off the video 100%.
According to what I'm reading in this post, going to intentionally interrupt the most engaging parts of videos with ads, which is almost certainly going to harm creators, at least like us, where I can't speak for everyone, but for us, we don't want to have interruptions right at the most engaging part of the video or right after. I mean, you like explicitly try to avoid that.
So what happens? Let's say he's in the last like 3 minutes of the video, right? Or like sorry, last like third or 3/4 of the video, right? And the most engaging moment is at that point, and the point either is about to get across or the point does get across, and then there's an immediate ad. That will harm retention. That will have a direct impact on retention, because like I go to YouTube shooting, I can show you like it tells me like average watch time, right? It's how I know I tangent too much in these reactions, right? Because if I do a 40-minute video and people only watch for 18 minutes, right, on average, yeah, it means I tangent too long, and I take that in. It's organic feedback, and I go, okay, maybe I'm talking a little too much. This is going to be one of those that's going to have really poor retention. But taking a literal metric like retention into consideration, and the moment, right, the peak moment, pinnacle, zenith moment, it's either interrupted or immediately after you have that satisfaction of having that moment is you're just hit with an ad that is going to get people to click off from the video. That is going to harm creators' metrics 100%.
Because that's when it just sucks as a viewing experience. And even from a strict business standpoint, it's like, if the person's super engaged right now because it's the best part of our video, I want them to see that, because that's probably the part I care the most about and I think is the most interesting or the most cool or the best editing or whatever. You want them to see that. And the retention's probably higher after that anyway, to watch through that engaging part. And to then use an AI tool to shove an ad into the middle of it is just like, what are we doing here? Is this what?
Even if it was an AI, especially if it's an AI tool, you have told me that I am not worth being. Here's the thing. I'm perfectly fine with ads. I know this is going to be a hot take, but hear me out on this. Give me those really sensual Spanish toothpaste ads. You know the ones where they talk about the toothpaste. You're like, man, that is a toothpaste ad, right? Right, things like that. Like, or market me an ad that's great, right? So I, as John Nerd, right? Cool. Market me things like Resident Evil ads, really cool Resident Evil ads, or market me something I'm going to be hyped about. If you're going to market me like washers and dryers store, or like a catalog service, or something I already use, like shipping things from Amazon. I bought a number of polypropylene sword trainers from Amazon, right? Like I buy things from Amazon, sure. Don't market me that, okay? Don't be redundant, and don't market me things that I don't want to see. It's this broad shotgun approach that is ruining ads for a lot of people. And like that's like I'm pretty sure people in the comments section, I'm pretty sure you agree. Yeah, if there's an ad that's tailored to me, like say you're in a Magic the Gathering and you get a really cool advertisement for Magic the Gathering, okay, cool. You're like, okay, I'm pretty hyped for this new set, right? If you're into welding or something like that, and you get like a Harbor Freight ad, and it's talking about welding, okay, cool. An ad has been served to you, and it's relevant to you. You don't really care about some random car commercial. You don't care about some random appliance, right? And that's with them actually having budget to make these things. If you as a company serve me an AI-generated slop advertisement, you have effectively told me I am not worth your time. All I am is a metric, and that's fine. Like that's how businesses will view people, and I totally understand. And that's a business method, right? That is going to come across to people as disingenuous, and there will be people who will look at it and go, "This is garbage. You can't even market to me. You can't even market me to me correctly. You have all of my information, right? How if you're not the product, or if the thing is for free, you're the product, right? That kind of thing. How many companies, entities, etc. out there have your personal information? Advertisers have all this personal information about you, and they still can't market things to you. What does that say?
we're building the AI for. Anyway, in that very same post, YouTube talks about its shopping extensions and in-video shopping pop-ups, which have basically turned YouTube into the QVC channel. We'll talk more about this in future videos. Got a lot of thoughts about that one. Alphabet, which has a market cap of more than $2 trillion, wants to squeeze every dollar from YouTube services and ads, more than before. I mean, this isn't a surprise. This is what big corporations do. But
extracting value.
It doesn't change the fact that it just feels worse as an end user. And if you want an ad-free service, of course you'll have to pay Google for it. It's just that an individual subscription, YouTube Premium without ads for now, costs $14 in the US. Subscription costs vary by country, of course, but according to Alphabet's last quarterly statement, Google's, quote, subscriptions, platforms, and devices, quote, grew by $1.6 billion for Q1 2024 versus Q1 2025. And Alphabet also made more than $10 billion in total revenue from the Google subscriptions, platforms, and devices in the first quarter of 2025.
YouTube ads did go up as well.
Already. And the company attributed most of that growth to an increase in subscription revenues across YouTube services and Google One. Paying $14 a month to remove ads, it's getting on the expensive side for sure.
Is.
YouTube Premium Lite at $8 per month, though, that's the one I'm kind of focused on here because, like, at least the $14 one, it's pretty clear what you're supposed to get, which is no more ads and videos from ads.
Yeah, don't legal asterisk me that some content may have ads. Is it premium or not? If it's, and here's the thing with the normalization, you now normalize, well, Premium Lite has ads, so now we're going to have Premium start to introduce ads. Well, but you could get Premier or Premium Pro or Premium Plus, and that will, for $22 a month, you could make sure that you don't have ads. We've seen this before.
Sense. But with the $8 one, it's not really 100% clear because they say that most videos won't have ads, but they don't really 100% clearly define which ones don't fall within most videos.
I'm chalked that up to a legal thing. The asterisk is legal. They can't define it. That way it is purposely left ambiguous so they can change what does and doesn't really when they feel like it. Like there is ambiguity there. I feel like that is a legal thing.
And it feels kind of like an upsell tool to the $14 for now option. For comparison, Netflix costs something like $8 per month with ads and $18 without ads. Hulu is $10 per month with ads and $19 per month without ads.
Dude, this blows my mind. I can't believe we're paying for services like this with ads. That is a disconnect for me. I don't have any of these subscriptions anymore because of that.
I'm personally not super familiar with these services. I don't watch like movies or TV.
I really don't.
I don't have time for it. But these prices are very competitive at face value. And one of the biggest things here is that YouTube content by default is already at least freely observable, even though you have to go through ads. So if YouTube wants people to remove ad blockers, we think it's going to need to adjust its pricing structure. It'll need to adjust the types of ads that are on the platform. There needs to be more policing of it. It really needs to focus on a better user experience. It seems that simple to me, where it's just like, there's all these clear victories, PR victories and whatever. I don't know, I'll use us as an example because it's something I can directly understand, but we've had people tell us that they've explicitly sort of whitelisted us for advertising for all these different extensions and things, or they'll donate on Patreon and things like that, and thank you for those of you who do both of those things, because you appreciate what we provide. And I think if you look at that from even a mega corporate perspective, it's like they come out and say, hey, we're finally going to focus on these bots. Like, we think we've got a solution. We can get most of them, and we're going to adapt to get the rest of them. They can even promote their AI bullshit with this. Like, bots versus bots, like battle bots, except in the comment section, and a lot more vulgar and filled with pictures we can't show on the screen.
But see, here's the, you know what that feeds into? That feeds into its own clip channels, right? You know, the ones that'll read like Steam reviews, the ones that'll read Reddit threads and stuff like that. Does that, it's in itself, not create its own brands of content? Now, you can argue that, Google, Alphabet, YouTube might not necessarily be in the best light if, battle bots in the comment section happened with their own bots, right? Think maybe like a Fortnite Darth Vader situation even, but like, or similar or adjacent, right? But like, this could be additive. You could spin this into a positive.
But, focusing on that user experience, to me, that seems like the clear path forward, where You make people happier with that. You get a PR victory there as YouTube. You improve the platform. You reduce the risk of people getting scammed on your platform and being turned off of it as a result of it. And they might even increase their viewership from, for example, the younger audience, or maybe the parents see these things in the comments and they're like, you're not going on that site or whatever. But the next thing to move towards would probably be getting rid of some of these scam ads.
Oh my God, what is it? I was watching a video the other day. This is actually really important because children on YouTube, this is a discussion we have every now and again. Is it CSAM? I'm trying to figure it out. Do not look up that acronym. I am very explicitly telling you, do not look up that acronym. Very specifically, this is brought to my attention by a video I was watching in my horror binge. And it was part of the reason why I continue to say that minors need to have anything that they do. Really, if they're on the internet, I mean, I say blanket ban, but if you have adults, parent guardians, teachers, people who can be trusted, and they're monitoring it, that prevents certain things like going into certain servers and having people to tell you to do certain reprehensible and horrible things, and then you being conditioned to be part of the problem and then telling other underage people to be part of the problem. I believe the acronym is CSAM. Those that know, I didn't know until literally that video. It's deplorable that this exists, and as far as I'm aware, there are organizations like the FBI, Interpol, who are on things like this, and it is becoming more of a problem in 2025. For those that don't know, just take it at face value. Do not look into this acronym. Do not go search out this information. Just know that it is disgusting and deplorable. And so this, how it ties to this is the YouTube thing, where YouTube simultaneously wants to market to kids, but they also have YouTube Kids, and then we have issues with YouTube Kids getting videos like, oh, you can go up to a police officer and grab his implement, quote unquote, on YouTube Kids, and the platform clearly has problems. Maybe at this time, we need to get kids off of YouTube. I think that there's a discussion to be had there, more for the children's benefit, less for like creators like me, creators who are just like, yeah, we don't want to market to kids, right? But more for actual, like, okay, but there's actual problematic people who are causing issues, and bots that have, YouTube seemingly just being okay with not safe for work bots, not safe for work advertisements, which would go against YouTube's TOS, right? Especially when you have someone like Saberspark who shows the cropped ad that he received and gets demonetized, right? Clearly there's a problem. Clearly minors aren't the play here, YouTube. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot market material like that to people via advertisements, simultaneously striking down creators who do similar, if not worse, right? And also market to kids. You cannot have it both ways.
Ads and just the AI generated, like, obviously artificial advertisements for products that might not even exist. Going after that stuff, that just seems like the place to start to me, not going after the users who are trying to avoid it. So I think one of the best examples I have personally, this is kind of one of the differences between GN and GNCA, is how I host these more first-person informal, I guess. But
I actually really
one of
do
the
like
examples
this.
I have is if you think of games piracy and movie piracy and things like that, when it really got a lot less popular than it seemed like it was, at least at the time, was when streaming became lower effort, lower risk, and relatively low cost. Like, all those things aligned to where it was just easier to use something like Steam or some streaming service or whatever to consume the content, rather than jumping through sketchy websites and downloading things that may or may not be exactly what you wanted, and risking malware and things like that. So that was when it got better, but it's starting to swing the other way. But anyway,
the issue with piracy is that I would argue a lot of people are more than happy to purchase the actual media they want. I was literally looking at old Silent Hill games because I've been on a Silent Hill binge recently. I promise this is relevant to the piracy discussion and to this. But I literally went out Silent Hill 3 for the whatever it's, I think it's for the PS2, right? The physical disc was $224 USD. Saw a copy of Diablo 1 in a jewel case recently for $100+, right? And you can argue, well, Nintendo games are $80. Oh, don't get me wrong. I bought Mario Kart for the Switch too. I bought it. it is a $50 game at best, if I'm being completely honest, right? I've spent hundreds on Pokemon Emerald, Pokemon Fire Red, multiple copies. I understand the price tag, don't get me wrong. The issue is that when people see things like that, I had to settle for the Xbox 360 Silent Hill HD collection, which is riddled with bugs. Oh, God, I hear it's bad. But it's what I can get my hands on. And people, if they're able, this literally could be fixed if something like GOG literally had them up. And that's not a jab at GOG. I'm actually super grateful for GOG because they had Silent Hill 4 The Room up, and I bought that immediately. It was like $8. Yeah, I will buy that. If you make things available and they're available for a decent price, people generally don't care. They'll go, sure, I'll drop $8 on Silent Hill 4 The Room on GOG. Not sponsored by GOG. I just really liked it. Or like that they had it, right? So how this relates to this is like, yes, he's absolutely correct that people, going into streaming and stuff like that, people didn't pirate things because they could. Why am I going to pirate things? I can just pay my whatever a month for Netflix and have everything. But now we're dealing with licensing and we're somehow, for some reason, celebrating Netflix, even though they say that they canceled all these series and all these movies. And that it's weird because people go, oh, well, Netflix was going to make a series. Like, is that not a failure? Could that not be considered breach of contract? I'd have to speak to a contract lawyer on that. But if you say you're going to make a series and then fall through on the series, would that not be breach of contract in some capacity? Getting paid to not make a product, right? Like, I think there's a weird, interesting argument there. But like, people, if services are offered for a reasonable price, and this is what I want to stress with this whole tangent, if you offer your service for a reasonable price. I'm not saying you have to make everything like $30. I'm not saying you have to sell yourself short, right? If you think your game is worth $80, by golly, sell your game for $80. It better be worth $80, though. It better have the content. It better have the writing. It better have the premium, premier feel to it, right? Or if you sell your game for $40, then it's a good game. Grats, you've won over a lot of people because it's $40 and it was a good game, right? Like, if you offer if you actively offer it, which is more than many companies, tell me where you can buy a copy of Pokemon Fire Red in 2025 from Nintendo officially. Spoiler, you cannot, and you offer it for a reasonable price. Hi, we will sell you this for $60. People don't feel the need to pirate. They don't. Sure, people still will, and at that point it becomes a moral argument, but at least you can say, whoa, we have offered this. We have offered this service. You are actively choosing to do this. This service is available. You can buy it right here. You can buy Silent Hill 4 The Room for $8 on this service. You are actively choosing to engage in piracy. You see where the difference is here?
It's a good example of that, where it became easier to buy the games there than really just about anything else, and that worked out well for them. So we don't want to see YouTube degrade its user experience. I still love the platform. YouTube is the main sort of way that I get content, information, that I learn stuff, and I genuinely do love using YouTube for that reason and for the people it has enabled, including us, to be honest. Like, we can appreciate it for what it is, what it has offered, what it continues to offer, but also, a lot of that, when you really like love a thing and you want to see it succeed and continue to be good, like it has been, it's the same way people like Ross Scott from Accursed Farms are passionate about games, where he's sort of pursuing something that some companies in the games industry will see as harmful to themselves, but it's because he loves video games and he wants them to stay available once you've purchased it. And for me, it's the same with YouTube, where it's like, this is a platform that I have and a lot of other people have built a life on. It's a great way to share information and learn, and it's very accessible for just about anybody to start uploading, but they're making it worse. It's the same way I feel about NVIDIA with the GPUs and building gaming PCs right now. So it's very unfortunate to see, but anyway, we're worried they're degrading the experience. They're forcing people towards a more premium service just to remove ads, while offering one that is nebulous about the ads it removes, which just seems like an upsell at the very least. And amusingly, Google has already prepared for all of this, because in 2018, their code of conduct said that they were focused on giving users, quote, the best products and services, but that has changed. And now it says, quote, great product.
Why would you word this way? Come on now. That to in a business sense, that is wild to me.
And services, which is one hell of a downgrade. That is
that
is a large objective change. So anyway, that's our thoughts on what YouTube's doing right now. Not thrilled about it. I think it can get better. I don't know. They would need to. They're too big of a company to react. Other than like, it's not going to matter what individual people there think. It's going to matter how many people really care and kind of make noise, and then they might shift for, if only PR, they might shift for that reason. But that's our thoughts on it. Different type of content for us. I like doing this, though. This is why we made this channel, is because this is like the stuff that I want to talk about and have wanted to for years, but doesn't always fit on GN for a lot of reasons. Some of them are actually related to YouTube and Google, where it's like, if you run certain things over there, it could be a risk if, like, I don't know what YouTube thinks about this. I don't think it likes this kind of content. I don't know that it's in its benefit to go after it, but it could. And so
the issue is it can also mess up your algorithm. It's much in the same way that I run into issues where if I do military content and then if I do funny gaming content, sure, there can kind of be an overlap with things like Arma and War Thunder, right? Like reactions to those. But then when I start doing horror react content, reacting to anime, stuff like that, it just doesn't do well. And then those not doing well messes with the things that do well and kind of leads to its own death spiral. I think putting it here on a consumer advocacy centralized channel, I think is the correct move. How we've talked about YouTube likes to compartmentalize channels and ideas, like Glim Glam Glitzdaka and Gaijin Goomba, right? How there's that split because 40K content was actively causing issues on Gaijin Goomba, thus Glim Glam Glitzdaka being able to put it in its own little box for YouTube, right? Yeah, this is just the reality you have to deal with.
It gives us a little bit more freedom on this platform to talk about issues that aren't strictly hardware, and also issues that may be about things that just like you run it on GN, it doesn't really click or hit the same view rate as it could here. Like, it could actually do better here for some of this type of content, just because it's less specifically technical. And so that allows us to keep GN super technical on the hardware and electronics, and then GNCA on stuff like this. So it's really fun. I'm excited because it allows us to, I finally have an outlet to explore both types of these kinds of content I like, without needing to worry about sort of the behind the scenes. How does YouTube interpret this, and how does it affect the numbers on one versus the other? So I'm really excited about it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. As always, go to store.gamersnexus.net to support us directly, like by grabbing one of these shirts. Actually, this one supports 3 other groups directly, which is archive.org, the Crampton Institute, and PIRG, or the Public Interest Research Group. We've talked about that in our PayPal Honey lawsuit update video if you want to learn more about that. And definitely check out the Stop Killing Games video with Ross Scott. That was really fun, interview style format, and I learned a lot from him. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. See you soon.
I thought it was a good video. I thought that this was really good. I've only seen a couple other Games Nexus things prior. I remember the whole Linus Tech Tip situation. And honestly, I have a very good impression of them. I mean, I've watched as little of their content as I watched. I mean, seems like it's, you know, they've got a clear head on their shoulders. Good content. Look, I come from the era where when you bought something, right? Whether that's a Nintendo 64, whether that's my parents say buying a new microwave, range, stove, etc., right? Even a car, right? You owned it, right? For all intents and purposes. Sure, times have changed. The moment you sell me a dishwasher that needs to connect to the internet, I will never buy from your company again. There is a certain level of consumer protections that needs to be there, because otherwise you run into issues. Like, I bought the Switch 2, right? I'm waiting on it to get banned. Not that I put a big Switch in, not that I've done anything with it. If anything, I've actively not played it just because I've been doing other things, and I've used it effectively as a more powerful Switch 1. But I'm waiting for it, for an accidental whoops, we banned your account. Then I will have a fun chat with Nintendo. So that's my little pet project going on behind the scenes. Just sitting there doing nothing, waiting to see if I get banned. But the fact that these are concerns, and we have people like Gamers Nexus who clearly they're passionate about the platform, right? That's why we're critical of this. That's why we're critical of things. We want to make sure people are given fair opportunities. And back in my day, there was a value proposition. I will hand you X dollars to receive that item and whatever that item can do. Gonna buy that Nintendo 64 because that Nintendo 64 run Nintendo 64 games. Might have to upgrade to the expansion pass. Probably a good idea. But at the very minimum, I know what I've bought and no one can mess with me, right? and we are in for a rude awakening with consumer protection laws. But thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Gamers Nexus, for an amazing video. I thought this was really cool. I try to do things like this semi-often when something interesting comes up, but they never do well in the algorithm, which is completely fine. Sometimes you need to have those discussions, which this was very insightful, and it was really cool to see another opinion on it. And I'll see you all in the next one.